What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Real Debates. This is episode 9, you guys, and let me just say we have had an amazing time with season 1. This has just been a very impactful series, and I couldn't have done it with these two competitors today. And I will be moderating today, but we got Ian Elliott Carter from The Controversy, and we have Jeremy Branch from Movies Are Terrible. How are you guys doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. I can't wait to jump in and have a little bit of a conversation about this obscure franchise that not many people have heard of. Maybe we can shine a light on it and kind of present some new ideas that maybe people haven't heard before.
Speak for yourself. The force is with me, brother.
Yeah, all right. We'll see.
Yes, and this will be our very typical fun debate. And guys, we will count all the votes to make sure that this shit is right like it is. There won't be any recounts. There won't be any lawsuits.
Unless I lose. Then there will be a recount.
Unless Ian lose, because, you know, that's a very common thing here on this show. So
fake news. I never lose. Fake news. I never lose. Fake news.
If you guys seen last week's debate, it was Wonder Woman.
I'm suing you.
It was Wonder Woman versus the Joker, where I took on the mantle of Wonder Woman. Ian took on the mantle of Joker. We duked it out. I came out with that one little punch and made that victory. But the rules have kind of somewhat changed. It's still the same format, but it's now, instead of 4 rounds, it is 3 rounds. And in the first round, we have our introduction to the movie. Both competitors will be giving our introductions and why they chose that movie. The second round is the battle round. They're going to go and pick apart why each other movie, their other opponent's movie, is the least better film. Like, it's why is it trash? What's contradicting it? Stuff like that. And then in the last round, it's their final statements, where they can continue attacking or they can wrap things up. Now, if I didn't announce before, Jeremy will be repping Star Wars stories, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and Ian will be repping The Force Awakens. These are 2 Disney Star Wars films under the Disney banner. We're talking about current Star Wars events, nothing in past tense. Even though both of these movies connect to the past, these are our new current movies under the Disney umbrella. So before we get past it to any of the competitors, I want to ask you guys, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Pick a number between 1 and 10, Ian.
My number is going to be 4.
Jeremy.
That is a good number, bro. That is such a good number. I'm going to go with the lucky number 7.
The number was 6, so Jeremy was the closest. Now, Jeremy, would you like to go first or second?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first this time.
Okay, now, like I stated before, each competitor has 2 minutes per round to state their case, and in this round, they'll be introducing their movie and giving us the reason why they picked it. So, Jeremy, you said you wanted to go first, and your 2 minutes starts now.
So the question was, which of the new Disney Star Wars movies is the best? I chose Rogue One. And I'm going to start this whole debate off with a quote that, to me, really embodies what I love about Rogue One. This is maybe a little pretentious, but this is kind of the thing about it that I enjoyed so much. And that is, he who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss also gazes into you. That's a Friedrich Nietzsche quote. And what I really like about Rogue One is that it deals with these shades of gray and ambiguity when you look at the original trilogy. And I'm going to try my best to just stay focused on the movie that we're talking about. But when you look at the original trilogy, you've got the good guys, you've got the bad guys, you've got the hero Jedis, and you've got the space Nazis. Nazis, they're easy to be bad guys. You look at Indiana Jones, there's not a person, well, unfortunately here in America, there are plenty of people who think Nazis are good guys, but as most rational people know, Nazis are terrible pieces of shit, so they make really easy enemies. The stormtroopers, the First Order, all of that stuff, they're Nazis, we get it. But what we've never thought about is a rebellion rebels are kind of terrorists, you know what I mean? And in this movie, we get to see these characters who are our heroes, and they shoot people in the back. They bomb cities in order to kill a couple of the members of the Empire, the Galactic Empire, in that city. And it's very reminiscent to kind of like Zero Dark 30, things that we've seen in the news where in these insurgencies happen in the Middle East and the way that this guerrilla warfare plays out. We get to see the rebels get their hands dirty. And to tie back to what I was saying about that quote is
2 minutes. That's your 2 minutes. That's your 2 minutes.
I said all this for my quote. 2 minutes. That's hilarious.
Really good round, Jeremy. I loved how you compared the realistic aspects of our world and how Rogue One embodies that, like the terroristic aspects, the things that they're going through in Rogue One kind of mirror what's going on now. That is amazing. I will definitely save all my deliberations towards the end of the match, but I did want to point that out. That was a really great comparison. I love how you introduced your movie for this round. Now, Ian, you have the same 2 minutes to give us your introduction and to tell us why you chose this movie. Your 2 minutes, sir, starts now.
All right. So before I talk about how great my movie is, I do want to remind you guys, I am talking about The Force Awakens. Regardless of what you feel about the movies after that, please do not think about that when I'm arguing my point, please, because I know there's a lot of biased minds and hearts when it comes to this trilogy. With that being said, I fell in love with The Force Awakens when it came out. I remember seeing that trailer. The first trailer when The Force Awakens came out, man, that broke the internet. Everybody was so excited about Star Wars again. That love for Star Wars came back. It's like they ignored the prequels at that time. They were like, yo, this is the Star Wars we know and love. The practical effects, the amazing characters. Like, it was just from the trailer. So when we actually saw the movie, it did feel like beat for beat of A New Hope. It was a very safe thing to do when they did that. It was because they wanted to make a new generation fall in love with Star Wars, but also keep the old people that love Star Wars as well. So it was a very good juggling that J.J. Abrams did on that aspect. I love the fact that we fell in love with these characters within the first 10 minutes. Like they started the movie immediately like, hey, this is Poe. This is Kylo Ren. This is Rey. This is BB-8. I saw that movie for the first time, and I remembered all their characters. I could relate to them, and I loved them. I don't even remember half his characters' names because it was basically the Suicide Squad, but we're going to talk about that later. But these are iconic characters, regardless of if you love this trilogy or not. These characters will always live in history for being great and iconic. I can relate a lot to Finn. I love they had a lot of great personality. These are great characters. I would say even some of these characters are funner to be around than like the prequel characters. Regardless of if you like these movies better or not, like they took a lot of great time with the character development in this story, and this started a story that you wanted to see going forward. Remember, regardless of what you think after that, you wanted to see where they were going with that.
2 minutes, and wow, that was actually a powerful round from you as well. One thing that stood out to me amongst a lot of things, but one thing that I have written down is what you said is that these characters were introduced in the first 2 minutes and we immediately loved them. I know for a fact, like I didn't know who Rey or Finn or any of those characters were in the Star Wars lore, but the moment I got introduced to them in the midst of this film, I fell in love with them. Like it was like a bond that was created in that short amount of time that made me want to watch towards to the end of the movie and also the movies that came out afterwards. So definitely great first rounds from my competitors. Set up really great introductions of why they chose their movie. Now we're getting into the battle round. Now the introduction round, Jeremy started first, and we're gonna now let Ian start this round first. Now, Ian, now's your chance to go after Jeremy and why his movie is I guess, for lack of a better word, trash movie in comparison to yours. You kind of started that in the first round by, making a slight jab there. So you can continue doing that, and your 2 minutes, sir, starts now.
Okay, so what Jeremy said was something that nobody's going to disagree with. Nazis suck. You know, of course, too much government sucks. Anything that like tries to control what you got going on is ridiculous, and it is great to rebel. I think his movie had a great message about rebelling from people trying to take over. But it's not a new message in Star Wars. Like, I would say the prequels elaborated on that really, really well. So it wasn't really anything new. We just saw a little bit more of that subject. But it was actually, I felt this movie was more so like fan service and just a good one-off to explain the stuff in between, because it did a good job explaining like the plot hole within blowing it, the Death Star with the hole.
What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
But other than that, like, it really wasn't a great story. It had great moments. Darth Vader's scene in that movie, one of the best Star Wars moments of all time. But without that movie, man, is it really rewatchable? I think a lot of us, when we rewatch that, are waiting for that scene. I don't even remember all those characters' names. I remember Jyn Osa, and that's about it. You know, they're very forgettable characters. Maybe it's designed that way because, like I said, it feels like the Suicide Squad. Like, hey, don't get attached to these characters because you'll never see them again.
What's the name of your clothing line? We don't know.
But when it comes to Star Wars, I'm love and attached to a lot of these characters. That's why I love it, especially the prequels. Again, a lot of people don't like the prequels, but I love Anakin. I love, of course, Padme, and I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think that they did a great job introducing these characters to make you want to care more about them. There's been a lot of movies where they're one-off and that you'll never see them again, but you still cared about these characters. Honestly, I know that they're going to die, so I don't give a shit about these characters.
Did you know that wasn't me?
I just know that this is like kind of filler for the next movie. It's really not that, it's really not that rewatchable. I will literally YouTube the Darth Vader scene just to make me happy. As the story goes, like, oh, okay, it's a political Nazi drama. All right, let me just go watch a WW World War II movie. That's all I need to do.
2 minutes. Wow. Jeremy, Ian hit you with some very logical points because when I think about it, I can't remember, aside from K2SO, the droid, I don't remember any of those characters' names. And the one point I want to point out that he did make, which is actually kind of key to this discussion or debate, this movie was set up to be a one-off, so we knew that they were going to die. So I think for that helps his argument a lot because we were not supposed to care about these characters. But that doesn't mean Ian won this round. So
no, it doesn't.
So Jeremy, you have 2 minutes to now attack Ian with your reasons why you believe his film is trash, and your 2 minutes starts now.
I started mine off with a quote, and I spent a lot of time on this. I started mine out with a quote with Nietzsche. I couldn't really find one that spoke exactly to The Force Awakens, so I came up with my own. It goes, remember TIE fighters and lightsabers and space Nazis? Poo, poo, poo. Remember Death Stars? This one's bigger, man. Like, it is the exact same movie.
Try sitting in this thing.
And you misunderstand my point about Rogue One. It's not a story about the space Nazis. That's every other Star Wars movie, including The Force Awakens, when you look at the big Hitler speech. No, this is about rebels doing questionable shit to enact a change that they believe is good in a world that's morally ambiguous. That's not something that you saw in Star Wars previous to Rogue One. This is a Star Wars movie. This is a boots on the ground war movie done with fantastic perspective from Gareth Edwards.
Doesn't sound so bad to me.
You can feel the scale of the AT-STs walking around on the beaches. You get some of the most phenomenal space battles that we've ever seen in Star Wars up to that point. There's nothing in The Force Awakens as far as star battles that even anywhere come near is comparison. And when you talk about recognizable characters and remember their names, yeah, me too. Because Rey is Luke, BB-8 is R2-D2, fucking Poe Dameron is Han Solo. Yeah, you've seen all of these characters before. They're a slight reconfiguration of the shit that you already know, which is exactly what The Force Awakens is. The biggest problem with The Force Awakens is that when you look at a character like Han Solo, one of the most pivotal characters in the history of Star Wars, and he dies, and you don't give a shit because it's been telegraphed in and you know it's coming from a mile away, That shows it's just the first crack in the sheen of many of them disrespecting their main characters. There are so many things that are just straight out of the original trilogy, like giving the droid the message to go take to the people, and they destroy 5 planets in this movie.
2
Looking
minutes.
for a map.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Ooh.
Off the record, who is Finn? I noticed you breezed by that one.
Lando Calrissian, the only black person in the
Oh,
universe.
that's racist.
What the hell did you just say?
You know what? I'm not adding any extra weight to either of those statements from Jeremy or Ian, but I have to say Jeremy came with some fire. One thing I want to point out in his debate, which he made a very real perspective, The Force Awakens is the original cast of the previous Star Wars movies. Rey, the great comparisons they made with BB-8 is R2-D2. Rey is Luke. I mean, oh my God! Like I didn't even think about that till you said it, and that was.
You didn't think about that even when I said it's basically a New Hope. Did you not listen?
No,
when I said
thought about that. I thought
You
about
don't get
that.
to take my points and get points for
in terms
me.
of comparison to movies, yes. But when he realized it, like I didn't think about the characters being the same. Because when you look at A New Hope and when you look at The Force Awakens, the movie, the tone is definitely the same. But I didn't think about the character aspect either. So the characters are definitely the same to a degree. But yeah, that was a fire round from both competitors. Now we are in the final round, the final statements round, where each competitor can give their 2 minutes and tell us why their other movie is trash, or they can just wrap things up. Now, we started things with Ian. We're going to go with Jeremy. And Jeremy, your 2 minutes starts now.
Here's J.J. Abrams at the pitch meeting. Hey, guys, what if The New Hope, but with more lens flares? How would that be? Wouldn't that be like the best movie ever? I'm sitting here dogging on The Force Awakens. It's probably the most fun of all of the new Star Wars movies. That's not the question, though, because it doesn't have shit to say. It has absolutely nothing to say. I feel that what Rogue One does is bring in, like I said, this ambiguity, this question about is overthrowing a tyrannical dictator to replace it with people that also have very compromised morals. Is that the answer? Is that a solution? And yeah, you do know where things are going to end as far as that most of the characters are going to die, but it doesn't diminish the mission. You damn sure didn't expect Darth Vader to show up and be the Darth Vader that we'd always heard about through extended lore, but have never seen on the big screen. This is the threat that they've been talking about, and I don't want to hang my whole argument on the Darth Vader scene because I could win the debate on that alone. It's fucking incredible. But the original Star Wars, The Force Awakens, it's fun, but it's not bold. It's not original. It's not trying to say anything. It's not trying to challenge the audience. It's just trying to recapture the glory of all the things that happened before that. It's member berries, and I really like the fact that the good guys do very bad things, and we also see a humanization of the Empire in a way that we hadn't previously. This movie changes the way that we see the universe. It changes the way that we look at those rebels in their X-Wings in the first movies. It adds context, it adds nuance, and yeah, it does correct that one little plot hole, but it does so much more than that. We see the Force as a religion through Donnie Yen's character. Oh, and speaking of Donnie Yen, he actually gets to do martial arts in it, unlike those dudes from the Raid that show up in The Force Awakens that just get eaten by Rathars randomly.
Is your foot all right?
So, I mean, where do I even go from there? I yield my time. Rogue One is a 10 times better movie. Thank you. I'm out.
Oh, wow. With 2 seconds to spare. Wow. Great closing statements. I loved how you wrapped that up. Man, definitely some fire. Ian, you have the same 2 minutes to do the very same thing that Jeremy just did. Your 2 minutes, sir, starts now.
I'm going to start with a personal opinion. There's 3 of the worst things in Star Wars history. 1, everybody can agree on, is probably Jar Jar Binks.
This is that. Misa called Jar Jar Binks. Misa, your humble servant.
That won't be.
2, a lot of the stuff that came out of Rise of Skywalker, that doesn't make any sense. Number 3 is his badass CGI as Tarkin. What the fuck was that all about?
We've heard word of rumors circulating through the city.
Oh, that's true.
Did you guys see that they should have just like did a mirror reflection or not even had him in the movie? Like that was probably the worst CGI I've ever seen. And honestly, the CGI in Force Awakens was better. And this movie came out after. There's no excuse for that video game looking face to be in this movie. So yeah, you get I'm not even judging it, but you're gonna get a strike for that bullshit. Okay. And basically what he's saying is stuff I've already acknowledged myself. Okay, it's beat for beat, and a little bit of what he's saying about the character development, I can acknowledge that a lot. But I feel like my movie definitely brought a breath of fresh air into the franchise. It did bring us a little bit more hope in this Disney Star Wars. Whether you were pleased with the ending or not, that's a different subject. But a lot of us had a sour taste from the prequels, and we were happy to see this new take that was just like, this is Star Wars.
Chewie, we're home.
We saw Star Wars again. With his, of course, it was the Suicide Squad, like I keep hammering home. And this movie, his lesson that he said, your lesson is, hey, fight for anything that you want, fight really hard, and you'll probably die in the end. Because you know what? That's what you're destined to do. You're destined to be on this planet and the Death Star to blow you up, like they did with Forrest Whitaker. This girl, they stole her father, killed her in front of her, and then she blew up at the end. So what a great ending! What a great lesson right here. Fight for everything, fight for justice, and then you'll die. You know. And then and then the movie went on to having another battle. Like it's just Star Wars at its peak. No great lesson. It made me like not want to join any rebellion. It was like, it didn't inspire me for shit. Yeah, terrible movie. But great Darth Vader scene.
That's your 2 minutes. That's your 2 minutes. And wow, that was amazing. I really enjoyed what you said, especially how you set it up. There are 3 things about Star Wars that are very questionable: Jar Jar Binks. What was the second one?
A lot of stuff from Rise of Skywalker.
And that CGI. I thought I was playing a Star Wars video game. Someone who's been playing video games throughout this quarantine. Yeah, that was kind of trash. I agree with that. And he also brought
technology should have not have been that bad. Seriously,
it shouldn't have been, especially being coming out a year after.
Yeah. Worse than the cantina scene in the special edition of Return of the Jedi, where the chick with the lips is singing.
I would prefer that, honestly, because that was a fake character. That was supposed to be a humanoid. Yeah, come on, bro.
Exactly. And this and Disney does not get a pass. This is Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Disney. They have like the biggest CGI department on the planet. This should not look like shit. This is Star Wars. But
I would argue that what's his name, Paul Walker from the Fast and Furious looked a lot better than Tarkin.
But I would also argue we barely saw Paul Walker CGI though.
Do we need to see all that CGI Tarkin in that movie?
We didn't, but Paul Walker, we barely saw. Like you couldn't tell that was his brother in some scenes. But
take out CGI Tarkin.
Yeah, that Tarkin though was crazy. But yo, my competitors, I want to thank them for being on the show. They did a really good job articulating this debates. As you guys know who watch me for a period of time, I am not a huge Star Wars dude, but I love the lore. I'm getting used to the lore, and I've learned a lot from both of my competitors. Now I'm going to give you guys my deliberations. Now, for the first round, to talk about Rogue One, Jeremy set up the precedent of what the story actually is. Like, it is these characters who are doing these bad things essentially for a good reason. The way Jeremy articulated and set up these characters and why they're doing what they're doing really spoke to me, because I've said on camera, I've said on my different various shows, Rogue One is actually my favorite Star Wars film out of all of them. Like, I love Rogue One because it's very different, and in the tone that Jeremy was setting, it sets up a very, very different movie in comparison to every single movie. I get it. It is a filler for all the other movies, but this is a very different movie that the way he came at it, he really spoke to me with that. Ian did an amazing job establishing the nostalgia of Force Awakens when he did bring up the point that it's a whole lot like A New Hope, where it brings you back that why people love Star Wars, why we love the elements of Star Wars, the different adventures, the CGI. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Tatooine, I believe it was Tatooine or whatever planet they visit in that movie, looks
Jakku.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Looks really beautiful in that movie. And the way Ian set up the nostalgia effort and why this movie is really important. And by the way, I love how he started with the whole with the trailers, because when I saw the trailers and the first person we see is Finn breathing really hard, I was like, I don't know who this is, but I'm interested in it.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
who it is. I'm
A
interested
rogue stormtrooper. What's not to love about that?
Exactly. Like that was just really good setup. So for round one, I have to give that to Ian. He did an amazing job with that. Now, round two, the battle round, an amazing round from both competitors. But Jeremy whooped your ass. Okay, Jeremy. The opening statement that Jeremy said. Here's the Force Awakens opening statement. Lightsabers, lens flares.
I even laughed at that. That was pretty funny.
You know what's so funny about that is that is so true. If you watch that movie, that's what it is. I was thinking about it. There are a lot of lens flares when they start.
That's just
when they start to go to space and stuff. I was like, why is that? Like, I
that's
get
his signature.
That's signature, but I'm like, But he put a great argument when he said, although now I want to go back and address something that Ian said. Ian did make the point that Force Awakens and A New Hope are exactly the same in terms of tone and somewhat storytelling. What Jeremy did, he narrowed it by saying that these key characters are exactly the same from the first from A New Hope. In a way, it's like, okay, Rey is Luke Skywalker, R2D2 is BB-8, like, and all these other ancillary characters are exactly the same, because if you line them up one by one, Luke doesn't know that he's a Jedi, neither does Rey. Like but they have the Force. So he did a really good job comparing and contrasting in those films in that particular way by responding to Ian's initial point. So I thought that was just amazing in how he articulated that round. So I have to give that battle round to Jeremy. Now, the last round, both of them were killing each other. I loved Ian's point when he said the CGI was trash. Also loved the point that he made in the second round, going into the third round as well, that this movie is very forgettable with its characters. I believe it was made to be forgettable because it's like, typically Rogue One is supposed to be episode 4 before episode 4. That's why no one remembers what it is. So, and honestly, Ian made a really good point. The the Darth Vader scene is probably the best action scene in that movie, because
in all of Star Wars, in my opinion.
In all of Star Wars, to be honest, because we every time we get a tease of Darth Vader of any kind in any Star Wars movie, it's always he's this big bad threat.
Yeah.
We never saw that until Rogue One.
We saw why he was in Rogue One, absolutely.
Exactly. And he tore through that room like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, however, came back at Ian with some very, very strong points about The Force Awakens as well, while also establishing the fact that Rogue One tells an individual story that makes you fall in love with the different aspects of Star Wars. Yes, he made the argument pretty clear. These are criminals who are doing something for good. And also, he made this argument as well. The Force Awakens spent too much time mirroring the fact there's a bigger Death Star. Like, so what? Like in Rogue One, they had a specific mission, and that was it. And it was a very linear story. That's why I love it. Now, saying all that, they are tied. They are tied in terms of Ian won the first round, Jeremy won the second round. In this round, they're tied again because I can't make a decision. So with that being said, though, I'm not just going to pick somebody. I'm going to give each competitor 1 minute to say whatever they want to say. It's a sudden death round, guys. Sudden death. Now, this round, they can say any shit that they want to say. It's all on them. Now, we started with, I believe, Jeremy. We're going to give this start to Ian. Now, Ian, you have 1 minute to say whatever you want to say. You can take all the time you need within your 1 minute. And your 1 minute starts now.
Okay, so I remember watching this movie. My mom's probably a bigger Star Wars fan than I am, and I remember seeing Forrest Whitaker in the movie. And she's like, "Oh, that's from he's from Clone Wars and all that other stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she started naming all this other stuff in the Star Wars lore from this movie, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now I get the point. I have to watch and read other stuff to understand this movie a little bit more."
Man, let me tell you something, Roland. Black people don't want to see that shit.
That's not fair. You know, that's the problem with Rise of Skywalker. They have a whole novelization to explain all the stuff in between. And I think the same thing is with Rogue One. To understand some of these characters, you have to do additional reading and watching other stuff. That's stupid. The Force Awakens, they pretty much rebooted it all. And of course, we know the thing of, oh, it's a beat for beat of the same characters. But no, they introduced them perfectly. You didn't have to look through other things to figure out what's going on. You know, it was pretty much hitting that reset button. We're here with you on this journey. There's just too much roadmaps to get through to understand everything going on. And if you are a fresh Star Wars fan,
that's your minute. Now, Ian. Oh, okay. Thank you, iPhone. Okay. Ian. Okay. So let me just say this real quickly before I deliberate. Ian made a good point. You have to read a lot of shit to understand Rogue One before you watch Rogue One. So, Jeremy, what is your
doesn't hold up as a solo movie? That's what I was trying to say.
I'm not adding any weight to that because he doesn't have that time. But right. I get what he's saying. But Jeremy, you have 1 minute to respond to that. Your 1 minute starts now.
Man, 1 minute is not a lot of time. The Force Awakens is a very good movie. That said, this movie, Rogue One, subverts the expectations of what we have from Star Wars movies way before The Last Jedi did. Dude, the whole purpose of Star Wars is to sell fucking action figures to children.
It ain't no Ralph, though. It ain't Ralph level.
Let me ask you this.
Who wants to buy a bunch of action figures of dead characters? That is ballsy, man. Gareth Edwards came into this movie and he gave us something that was truly different and really embodied what a Star War would look like. This is boots on the ground. This is people giving the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah, rebellions are bloody, messy, shitty things, just like war is. And the fact that we can, gloss over it and say good guys and bad guys, isn't that all perspective? And this movie challenged our perspective of what it means to be good and to be bad. When there's good folks like Mads Mikkelsen's character working for the Empire, and then there's people like the character that is assassinated.
You don't remember their names, do you?
That's your 1 minute. That's your 1 minute.
Yeah, the Rogue One characters are flying off the shelf, aren't they? The Rogue One toys are flying off the shelf.
Cassian Anderson, Jen Erso.
You didn't remember. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, man. Okay, guys, in the comment section, I know what you're thinking. This is really hard. And
it is hard.
These guys just made it even more harder for me. This is probably one of the episodes that I've had to moderate where I wish I was not the moderator, because I feel like whoever wins, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. God, this is hard. Okay, I cannot wait to start putting funny shit in this. To deliberate though, what they said, and capitalized on the point that Rogue One is a forgettable movie. Even though it's one of my favorites, it's a forgettable movie. He's right in saying that. He is also right in saying that The Force Awakens brought back Star Wars. Because if we remember correctly, the prequels killed Star Wars. And when we got The Force Awakens, I saw a wave of fans that I've never seen in my whole entire life. And that was the movie to do it. Jeremy brought up some really good points about the nostalgia aspects of Rogue One. He also brought up some really good points that it is a different take on Star Wars. And that is something, as Star Wars fans, we have been wanting for like forever. We've been wanting something outside the norm of the Jedi and all this other bullshit. It's something different. And let me just point out, I know that Jeremy didn't add this, but I just want to point this out. Nobody in that whole Rogue One crew were Jedis. They were all badasses in their own right, and they didn't need the Force to do it. Well, not really, at least. So man, this is really, really tough. My God. I want to say so bad. Why don't you flip a coin and whoever wins the coin toss wins? But I cannot do that.
If it makes your life easier, and I'm not succeeding by any chance, but I would not feel bad to lose this debate to Ian.
I know a way you can figure this out. Jeremy said Star Wars is meant to sell toys. Let's see which property sold more toys.
I mean, that's an obvious answer, though. I mean, yeah.
The question was a better movie.
That point that Jeremy made kind of did fell flat. Because if you look at even after Force Awakens, Solo didn't sell toys. Rogue One sure as hell didn't sell toys. But episode 7, 8, and 9 did. And those are they're not, well, 9 is trash, but 8 is okay at best. Shit. And I'm only basing this off of who had the better argument.
2 hours later.
Oh man, I'm sorry, but the better argument, and I have it right in front of me. The better argument by like a hairline margin, a very thin margin. I have to give that one to Ian.
Oh, I mean, Jeremy, in your face.
Comment section. Let us know.
Hey, Jeremy did a good job promoting this movie. I kind of want to see it now, though. I haven't seen it in a while, but no. Very good debate, bro.
Very, very
started
good
with the fucking Nietzsche quote, and you guys are gonna rot.
Oh, it doesn't feel so good to lose now, Jeremy, does it?
Insane. Comment section. Let us know.
The reason why, and for everyone in the comment section who's watching this, and I know you're like, what?
You don't have to justify it to them. They're gonna let you know.
Yeah, kind of like they did with what's it called, Old Guard. Shut up, Jeremy. I won.
It's a definitely great match between these guys. Man, I cannot wait for you guys to see the season finale next week, where I go up against a new competitor, Mr. John Knight from his YouTube channel. Really great dude. It's going to be a dope match. I can't wait for you guys to watch. But before we get into signing off, I want to shout out my guys' their YouTube channel. So Ian, where can we find you on YouTube, this week's winner?
You can find me at youtube.com/thecontroversy, and I have a lot of stuff with these guys on my channel. So, check out my content, man. And it's great. If you love Star Wars, if you love, anything else, nerd culture, pop culture, stuff like that, I got a lot of stuff there for you.
Yeah, dope channel. And like he said, we're all on his channel as well. We're also all on Jeremy's channel as well. So Jeremy, this week's loser, unfortunately, where can we find you on YouTube?
Couple things. You guys know where to find me. Second of all, let these fools know who actually won this debate. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
Just a reminder, Joe Biden did win the election, and whatever the loser says after that, it's void. Don't even listen to it.
Yes. Just go ahead and concede. It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine.
There won't be any lawsuits here on this. Fuck that. And by the way, anybody in the chat who wants to file an appeal, y'all can kiss my. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, perfect. That was so good.
That was too funny.
But man, that was such a great match, man. I love these guys. They're freaking amazing. Definitely check out our content here at Momentum Media. Like I said, later today, we have a review show of The Mandalorian, so you definitely want to check that out. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all updates every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. And I don't know if this video will be out by this time, but I will be playing the Miles Morales video game, live streaming that. So you will be having my first interactions of the game. So definitely check that out if that hasn't already come out already. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. And as always, you have a blessed day.